Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 5 of the Leaders Edge talk show series. Tonight, we have a very special guest because I have known him for over 30 years and he really has a lot of stories to tell us because he is one amazing person. In the midst of crisis, he's able to succeed and thrive, accomplish so much in his young life. You will see later how young he is. He is so much younger than me. So let's take a look first at his corporate profile. He believes that the effect of COVID-19 on the IT industry are both good and bad. And in his team, which is of course the name of his company is Teamworks, readiness and response to challenges. And they are ready. By the way, let's take a look at his, where did Michael come from? Mike, as he is called fondly by his friends, is a graduate of chemistry and computer engineering at Ateneo de Manila University, resident of Wizard at Work X Holding Incorporated, director WorkX Group of Companies, past district governor, Toastmasters International, speech to evaluate districts, Toastmasters International, certified HR professional, and he was president of Seaport Holdings Incorporated, assistant to the president, Petrocorp. Previously, he was also assistant controller of Petrochem. It is super exciting because he excelled in everything that he got involved in. I'm so excited because everybody is reeling from the effects of the pandemic. But let's hear it from this guy because he and his team have come up with such an amazing speed and agility and that they are succeeding and thriving in the midst of this crisis. So Mike, I can hardly wait. Show us. Yes.
Thank you, Dina. Good evening, everyone. It's good to be here coming here with your invitation. And yes, I'd like to share a few things about how we did things in our organization. But first, perhaps, I'd like to share a few slides and introduce my company and my organization. So let me share my screen. There, okay. So to our audience, this is Teamworks. We're actually a group of companies and a couple of them might be familiar to you because they are consumer brands. So we started way back in 1996 with the first company, InfoWorks. Then we now have ClariTrade, PCWorks, Action Labs, Zenith, OMW, and Wizards at Works. Now, among all these companies, there are two brands that probably stand out. And these brands are PCWorks and Action Labs. So PCWorks is probably the brand that you see in the retail stores, in malls, and all the companies that are selling computers in our organization, that's ClariTrade, InfoWorks, OMW, they're all using the brand name of PCWorks. Okay. PCWorks handles trading, institutional sales, retail, consumer, and distributorship. Action Labs is our service arm. It handles break-fix solutions, maintenance solutions, IT managed services, solutions integration. So ito yung mga service centers. We have service centers all over. No? This is our current setup. We have 24 locations across the nation. And it's a mix of retail stores. Some of them are offices, some are service centers. And as a group, we have around 1,000 employees. Okay, so that's where we are. So when COVID came and suddenly there was a lockdown, how did we as a team, as a family, 1,000 employees manage to continue doing operations? How did we manage to continue working and to operate our business? So these are the things I'd like to share with you. When COVID came and there was a lockdown, everybody was talking about PPE, personal protective equipment, to protect ourselves, right? So we have this acronym as well in our organization to protect the bloodline or the breadline of our teamworks. What does PPE stand for in our corporation? P stands for process. We protected ourselves by looking and redefining the process in our organization. The second P is we looked at how we were managing our money, the pesos. And I will discuss a little bit about that. But I'll also deal and talk a little bit more than the two P's is the letter E, which I think is very critical here because E stands for how we are taking care of our employees in the COVID situation. Let's start with the first P. So here we talk about the process. How did we respond when there was a lockdown in March? We were lucky actually that sometime in late 2019, we were already forming and defining our business continuity program. We were looking at all the what ifs. There were a lot of, in the past few months, there were a lot of earthquakes, there were a lot of typhoons, and we were thinking, what if there were different scenarios where there will be disruption of work? And with this designed program, we rolled it out, although it's not 100% in place and tested, but when March came and there was a lockdown, we were able to connect and communicate and coordinate with all our team members across the nation. We put out all the safety procedures, the process, the equipment were all there. Our company nurse was activated and was working and helping out in contacting everybody to make sure that all the centers and all the malls have everything, all the protocols in place. Rapid tests were conducted, and since we were considered actually an essential business and we had to continue serving, especially the frontliners, we were providing services and equipment to hospitals and clinics. We had skeleton operations, and we had to make sure that the employees who were coming in to take care of the warehousing, the logistics part, were housed securely, and we converted part of our office into sleeping quarters. We also purchased a couple more shuttle vans to take care of the movement of our employees, especially the engineers who had to service the other client side, no? But what was very critical was early on, when there was a lockdown, we in management decided to appoint a business process improvement manager on an ad hoc capacity, trying to see how things will be. And this is very crucial because this is how we will be able to have a team effort with somebody leading the effort in making sure that we are continuously adapting to what is happening, be dynamic. One of the things I'd like to share with you in the snapshot is something we did for the shifting, because when there was the lockdown, people couldn't come in, people weren't moving around, and I think most companies had what you said, people who were on site working in the office and people who were working from home. We did a little adjustment to it, and I think this can be adopted by some of the other companies. We shared this with some of our state partners, and some of them have adopted it as well, because obviously there are actually more than people. We can't bring everybody back online all at the same time. So what we did was we formed 3 teams. There were people who were on site, there were people who were working from home, but there was also a third of our team that was still on forced leave. And every 2 weeks, we shift the cycle. So team A, we were on site 2 weeks. The following 2 weeks, they become work from home. Okay, and then the people from forced leave are now working on site. So we shift them. What's the purpose here? 2, we're making sure that over a period of time, everybody, whether you're on forced leave, you're working from home, or you're on site, no matter your situation, you are still receiving salary. It might not be the full salary because of the situation, but at least there is a cycle where you are receiving part of your salary. Second, just in case there is somebody who gets infected in the office, and you have to quarantine the team A, for example, for 2 weeks, at least you still have 2 teams that is working, one in house, one work from home, and one on site. So you have more mobility rather than just having 2 teams. So this is something that we put together, activated, and it worked very well for us. So I'm sharing this with the audience, and this can be adopted in case there are more lockdowns in the coming months. Now, how do we face the new normal? And I think this mindset is very important. Many companies were suffering and having a hard time adjusting because they are waiting for what the new normal is. Our mindset in Teamworks was we need to create the new normal. We couldn't wait for what will happen, but we need to create. And by creating, the creation of the business process improvement team was very critical because we had a team that was continuously watching and changing the process to adapt to how we will do business. Okay, because there are many things that were different. So this is a dynamic team that was looking at all the processes. And to get the whole middle management to support our improvement team, we sent everybody to the Lean Six Sigma certification so that all middle management and top management have the same mindset. I think for a team to work, everybody must think with the same parameters. Not the same ideas, but the same parameters. Now, let's talk about the second P. Okay? The second P is pesos. Normally, when there is just ordinary times, a business will run balancing the profit or the income statement and the cash flow. They're 2 different things for accounting and for business. Sometimes you want to make sure that you earn enough money, but you have to extend terms. And that might eat up your cash flow, right? So there's a difference. So before COVID, equal weight. You want to make enough money, but you want to make sure that the cash flow is moving. But now that COVID is in place, the COVID is here with us, and things are not as certain as they were. Challenging times calls for a different approach, and you need to put more weight on cash flow than profit. It should be a mindset where you do not risk doing business where there's a lot of profit possibilities, but you need to give credit to your customers, for example. But there is no assurance, there's less assurance nowadays that you'll be able to collect. So it's better to let go of some of those opportunities, but to protect whatever assets you have in hand. So these are the things we did to build up our capital. We held off all our capital expenditures. Why? These capital expenditures at the start of the year were approved based on the picture or the scenario where everything is normal. Things have changed. So you need to reevaluate if you need to spend those repairs and renovations for the new wing in the office area. You need to check. But it should not be a closed deal thing. So sometimes you need to give exception, like we bought 2 more vehicles, right? And when we bought 2 vehicles, that's capital expenditure, but it was needed. All I'm saying here is you need to evaluate and reevaluate before doing any capital expenditures that were approved and decided on before the ECQ. Now, this is what was crucial also. Of course, in a purchasing or operations flow, you have suppliers, you have customers. So your suppliers, you work, those you are comfortable working with, you ask for longer terms or a rescheduling of the payments. At the other end, with your clients, you need to hold back credit sales transactions as much as you can. So in our case, even if the clients stopped buying or bought less from us, we had to let go of those opportunities just to be sure that our assets, our liquidity is protected. So that is what I mean when I say cash flow.
Yeah.
Very important. Yes, Dina.
Yeah, right. Mike, may I ask you a question, because I am in business myself, but of
Yes.
course my business is much smaller than yours. I am perplexed and discombobulated by this. Put more weight on cash flow than profit, even if you have lost opportunity sometimes. Now, in
Yes.
the industry where I am in, it's really it's not like yours. Yours is more, shall we say,
Trading.
specialized, highly
Yeah.
specialized, right? In our business, there is so much competition out there, and less and less possible clients, simply because many of them either lost a lot of money or have closed up or really are on tight budgets. So I find it very difficult uh, to to put more weight, meaning I still have to weigh that prospect with, oh my gosh, I'll be losing opportunities. I'll give you an example. There was this drug company that hired one of our speakers. I did not realize that they probably also have cash flow
Okay.
concerns. And so here's my speaker asking for his payment, his fee. And here's my client saying they are not, they are not
Agree to
ready
pay.
because it's being held back by their finance department. So the question really is this: how do I find a good balance? Because I still want to, as much as possible, not let go of opportunities like this, and yet
Yeah.
I have to find a balance that. So I have a few ideas already in my mind, which
Yeah.
you can confirm with me, because I gave in to the demand of our speaker, our trainer, simply because he needed it for emergency funds.
Mm.
So now I'm caught in between our client and my trainer, who
Client.
demanded that it's already a month, so I need to have my payment. So I had to advance it.
Mm.
So what do you think?
Okay. Well, that's a situation that you're caught in right now, no? But what I may suggest in future endeavors like this, Dina, is maybe because you have a niche market, you have a brand that excels above the average training company, right? I believe that in this situation, what you should or what you may try to do is demand a down payment. Demand a down payment. In all your future proposals, ask for a down payment. Because right now, as I said, everybody can promise anything and everything. But when the payment is due, it's so easy for them to say, wait, there's a change in process, there's a liquidity issue. And it's so hard to run after them because we're not seeing each other face to face most of the time. There is no logistical movement, right, to run after them. So trying to get down payments is important. And I think I can equate that to what we're doing now. We have clients who we used to sell on 30 days term, but we actually ask for COD now. And when we say COD, you deposit the money first into our account before I send you the product. So yes, in our case, maybe we have more leeway because the IT business is really in high demand right now. And so, some people don't have a choice but to buy from us. But we have to protect our team. In your case, I think it's not, it is, we have to drive home that training is still very essential, especially now when people are just, some of our workforce are just at home. And the best way to invest the time is to continuously invest in training, right? So maybe that kind of mindset should be marketed more by your team. And with that, you can demand down payments.
Wow, you know, Mike, this is such a godsend for me because you just gave me a brilliant idea. All this time, the reason why we have not been asking for down payments because we have been in business for them for so many years. You know that this year is our 30th anniversary. And, you know, it pains me to suddenly ask for down payment. But look, this, I now have a justification for that because these are not normal times.
Yes, it's
So
the
I
new
tell you,
normal.
Mike, I'm so happy I invited you. I got an instant brilliant idea. Please go on. Please, yeah. I'm excited to hear the rest. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for that question also. I'm glad I was able to illustrate a little bit more on the point that I was making. So to continue, okay. So just to wrap up on the pesos, no? So what are the things we were doing and we were not doing? And I'd like to share this with you. You may want to adopt it or not. You need to diversify. If you have not diversified, you need to diversify because 2020, like they said, is a year of so many uncertainties, so many calamities, so many disasters. Who's to say that 2021 will be better? We don't know. So even if you haven't diversified before, it's time to keep looking at the way we can diversify. Why is diversification very important? It affected us and it helped us a lot. Case in point, in our group of companies, although all the companies that we were managing and running are IT related, when there was a lockdown, when ECQ was imposed, all the malls were closed, right? So my companies that were running the retail operations in the malls were all zero income, zero revenues. All the stores were closed. It was a good thing that Action Labs, which is my service company, was continuously serving the clients, the PPOs, the clients, because Action Labs provides engineers on an outsourced process to the clients to help them. So during these times, they were more in demand. Now, recently, I won't name the client's name, but one of the biggest clients of Action Labs actually is a fast food chain. And this fast food chain that sells chicken and burgers, they haven't opened all their stores, right? And not all their restaurants are open. So they had to pre-terminate part of their contract with us. So Action Labs now has been going down a little bit in terms of revenues. But because we are in a field of different businesses, our online shopping in Lazada, in Shopee, etc., has picked up since June, July, and it kind of balanced and protected us from a complete downward trend in our revenues. So if you diversify and you put your eggs in different baskets, you have less risk. One might go down, but the others might support the total business. Now, don't invest, as I was mentioning earlier, and I'll go through this very quickly. If you have set capital expenditures, capital budgets before ECQ, don't just go ahead and push and go ahead and do them just because they were approved already, just because you've decided upon them already. It is important to reevaluate because times are changing. In the same token, do not necessarily just keep on divesting just because a business unit or a part of your operations or an asset suddenly is not giving you any income. Why? Because we do not know how permanent or how temporary the situation is right now. For all you know, some of these operations that are not giving you revenues right now may come back in the next few months. And if you divested the resources to support that, you might be scrambling to put that together again. So if you can, keep, do not just keep divesting. You can divest if you're in need of cash, but if you can, hold on to the resources that you already have. Okay? So that is my sharing for the letter P, pesos. Now let's talk about the third letter in the acronym. And this I'd like to share some interesting ideas. Okay? The employee. I think this is very critical. When the lockdown came, when ECQ was imposed, we were looking at how we can support our employees. Granted, it's true that we had to put some of the people on forced leave. Forced leave meaning to say they were not being paid. But we released pro rata, the 13-month ahead. And then the budget that was already set for outings, sports fest, which were supposed to happen during summer, we just converted them to cash and sent it out to them. Because we know that we need to take care of one of the pillars of an operation, which is people. XCOM, also, we pulled together some of our salaries. We created a standby fund for targeting certain people who we know will have a hard time. While we did give funds for all, you know that there will be some employees that will be very, very hard financially challenged. And we had a fund to potentially target these people. No? So XCOM did that. These are the things we did for our employees. But here is what helped us really prepare. For the past 2-3 years, our company has been setting up mobile or remote engagement with our employees. 5-7 years ago, when we were around 200, 300 employees, we were doing training classroom style. That's it. But when we became nationwide and there was a lot of need to train people in different platforms, in different places, we put together our own employee portal. It's called Engage. So it's HR driven. It's an Engage portal. We developed this ourselves. It runs how to enable, to evolve, and empower our employees. We also have a ticketing portal, but let me talk about the Engage portal first. I'll just show you a sample. Every employee can log in anywhere, whether at home or in the office. And here they can see their own profile, their 201, their dashboard, in their job description, the org chart. They can also see the news and updates from the office. Also, they can see training modules. So it's there's a built-in learning management system in here. So we were developing certain modules, some soft skills, and we were putting them up. And they were on webinar style. They were on webinar style. We were doing video on demand with assessments at the end. We were also throwing, especially now, we were throwing weekly games and quizzes just to keep our employees engaged, whether they are working or not. Because it is very important, especially now, for our employees to feel that they are still connected with our organization. I've heard some people say, some friends of mine who say, I've lost connection with the company I work for because a month into the ECQ, they've stopped really asking what I'm doing. So we have to exert effort as a company, as leaders, on making sure that we are engaging our employees. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We send out training, we send out questionnaires, surveys, games, quizzes. We have kamustahan, we do a Zoom conference with different business units just to make sure that they feel that they are part of the team, part of the family. Okay, so these are the things we do. So we even roll out modules that are not necessarily work-related, balancing family and work from home duties. Now, the ticketing system is another portal that we developed. This is what I mean when when I say we had to create the new normal. When you create the new normal, we threw out the old KPIs, how to measure the output of the employees. Before, it was about coming in on time, being present, logging in on time, logging out, part of it. We threw that all out. We didn't really take care about how much time you spend in the organization because we can't see it anyway, right? What we want to make sure that you're doing is the output, your service level to the organization, to your peers, to the other departments. And with a ticketing system where you request something from a department, you can actually send out a ticket, and the ticket is monitored how fast or how efficiently you respond to that activity. All this is compiled in a database, and this comes across as a monthly review of your performance as an individual and as a department. Now, it took a couple of years for the ticketing service. In fact, you'll see in one of the modules, it's still coming soon. But it can start out in a manual process. You know, somebody just taking down and doing an Excel if you don't have this automation yet. But what's important to realize here is you need to measure output. You need to measure service level, not just to external clients, but to internal clients. And don't put emphasis too much on how much time really is spent. After all, if an employee spends 100 hours and yet has no output, what's the use of that to a company, right? That's a problem before. It's even a bigger problem now because we don't see each other, right? So retool the way you measure performance. Make it output-based. And a ticketing portal or a ticketing process will help you do this. You have a question, Tina?
This, Mike, excuse me. Yes, I am so curious. How about other organizations? Probably this one will not work with me. I have very few people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will work with bigger organizations.
Yes.
How are they going to, I'm sure they will be needing your help. Can you provide the what we call the tools that they need? Can you provide this kind of service to them?
Yes, we can.
This kind, yeah, this
Definitely,
kind.
we can. After this, they can get in touch with me, Dina, and I'm willing to share this, no, these ideas, and we can work something out. Yes, definitely. Okay.
Yeah, because I can see how very useful that is to companies that are equally struggling, but they did not have your what we call your advance. you really programmed your this kind of thinking and implementing your ideas in in advance. I mean, that is so amazing. Before the pandemic, you already thought of it.
I think it's my training in Toastmasters, Dina. You know why? If you recall, I was doing a lot of the organization of our district events, right? The DISCON, the MidCon, all these I was doing behind the scenes. And there's always a need to ask what if the plan A, plan B, plan C. Because anything and everything can go wrong, diba? So by planning like this, so I adopted it in the company, always thinking, what if, what if, what if. That's why the business continuity plan, the setting up of a ticketing system, all this, we're in, thinking, what if there's disruption? What if we can't see each other, even before the pandemic? Yeah. Maybe I have too much time in
Yeah.
my head,
I
Dina, always thinking what if.
Yes. Yes, I have yes, thank you so much. Thank you. This is so relevant. Um I have what we call follow-up question.
Yes.
I really, really appreciate all of this that you're doing now. Let me just, well, we don't have crystal balls, but you see, because you're able to plan way in advance, you have that kind of mindset. So if you have your own crystal ball, I mean, and I believe that that comes from your mind, the way you think. What does the future hold? Considering that this pandemic will stay with us
Yeah.
for longer.
Okay. There is a need. What the future holds is like this. In my mind, okay, we're not going back to the old style of doing work from on-site work. Most of the people who are working from home will continue to be working from home. And the adaptation of applications, programs that will allow them, the tools that will allow them to continuously work away from the office site, and they can market remotely online. They can measure performance online. They can develop their skills online. These are critical. And you'll notice that all the things I mentioned are all because of how we retool the employee. It has to be employee-centered. The process is what drives the organization uh, as a structure. But it's the employee that is the heart of the organization that fuels the organization. So there should be more emphasis in how we treat our employees as we move into the future. Okay. And in fact,
Thank you so much, Mike.
that segues me to
Wow.
my next two slides.
Yes, yes, yes,
If
yes,
I
yes.
may. Yeah.
So please show what
Yeah.
the rest of the slides are, because
Yes.
I can see how much benefit we're getting out of this.
Okay, let me continue. So first, I just like it. This is the mindset that I was talking about now. More than ever, we need to see our coworkers more than just as team members. It's not enough to say we're a team, we're a team, we're a team, and we have the same mission. Okay, that might have worked before when we're in the office setting, but now when we're all over the place in our house, when the time and effort of an employee is blurred between housework and office work, we need to see them as family. That is very critical. We need to see our employee as individuals, as family, not just what they can do as an output for the organization, but as a person for society, how they can become better citizens for our family as an organization and as a family member of society. That is why we've been developing in our organization a program called Circles. It's a concept as of now. Some parts are working and implemented. Circles is it's not a computer program. It's a program for employees. It's employee-driven, employee-initiated programs, but company-sponsored. So asset-wise, resource-wise, company will support. What is this? This is to develop a well-rounded employee. We're taking care of the performance and the skill set, but let's take care of the welfare, the physical health, the mental health, the financial security, and the social awareness and cultural stability or adaptability of the employee to society. By doing this, we created several clubs that are run by our employees. So we have a physical fitness club in the organization. Together with MaxiCare, we are running Zumba online, etc. We're checking on how well they're eating, how well they're taking care of themselves. We have a mental health club, the Eustress Club, that's running the games, doing the kamustan, etc. We have an organization a club in our organization that actually offers financial literacy training, seminar for our employees, and have set up a place where they can actually do some investments to the company as in a bond, and they can earn interest and revenues. And social health, it's important that we as Filipinos are rooted in our country's history as well. So we have employees that come from all over, from the provinces, etc. They've never been to, for example, the National Museum. They've never been to Fort Santiago. We'd like to take an opportunity to educate and share with them the rich history, because being a Filipino helps us become a real family as well. So things like this, we're thinking of doing a virtual tour for the employees in a museum or something about history, or recommending some books. So that's the intent. The intent really is to make the employee healthy, not just as an employee, but as a person. So I think, Dina, just to continue answering and encapsulating the question you had earlier, the future is in the employee as a family member, as a person. When we take care of the employee as a person, the company will take care of itself. Okay? So let me just wrap up. These are the acronym. Take care of the process. Retool the organization. Take care of your money, your assets. Do not keep your funds as close to you as possible. It's not the time to take risks. And of course, more importantly, take care of the employees, because without your employees, when things, let's say when ECQ is gone, when COVID is gone, and things get back to a semi-semblance of normalcy, you don't want to start hiring people again, right? You want your employees right there doing work with you, working with you. Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our episode number 5, and we are so fortunate to have Michael Angelo Chua with us. So generous with what he is experiencing, what the success, as well as sharing it with all Filipinos, and by the way, with the world, because this will go to YouTube, of course. And so this is season 2, Mike, for us. So you are episode number 5 of season 2. And for next week, we have a well-known speaker, trainer, and consultant, Boris Joaquin, who will talk. Yes, he is going to talk about leading like Jesus. Yes, yes, indeed. And of course, we want to continue, and we believe in this leadership series that life is a continuing learning process, and of course, unlimited vistas. So for all of you out there, and I hope you remember to please tune in to this. This is for Wednesday. This is for Wednesday evening, actually, YouTube. You can tune in YouTube with the Leaders Eds by SEASTDI. And of course, it will be also shown in the Speakers Bureau Academy. It's a private group in Facebook. And Mike, please show us. I know you have a book somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just quickly plug this in, if I may just.
Yeah, please show us. Yes.
Can I do a quick share again of the screen?
Please. Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If you have the chance, there you go. This is the one. There you go. You see it? Okay, this is my Facebook page. It's called Michael Angelo. The books are downloadable starting, it started on October 10. They're free, so there's no payment. It's just that I've spent some of the time staying at home watching the sunset and the sunrise. And I put all the pictures together and wrote some essays, some articles, some poems as a backdrop. And I'd like to share all these ideas that have entered my mind my passion. They're free. So I'd like to share with you. If you visit the page, you can click on the QR codes or the link, and you'll be led to the books. No, so enjoy the books. They're free.
Not just thinking of yourself anymore. You really are thinking of others as well. So for me, that's the penultimate leader, the leadership level that we all aspire to. Thank you so much, Mike, for the time that you've spent with us and the generous sharing of your wisdom, experiences. And
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You are such a voice for Toastmasters as well as for business entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much.
God bless. Virtual
God bless
hug,
too.
Mike. Virtual hug. Yes.
Kala ko Wakanda. Virtual hug.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good evening. Yes.
Yes, good evening.
So lahat kami nangangarap kami maging regular employee, but that never happened. I have to improve my attitude. I have to keep learning. Mahirap po, pero I went out my comfort zone. And then blood, sweat, and tears, just like a success story ninyo, and which made me where I am now. It's all because making that simple decision.
Let me ask you, I'm sure you are experiencing now even beyond what you imagined, correct? Oh, see? Because once you start moving in the right direction, pataas, no? I mean, it will just go, it will propel you to greater heights. Even if it is not yet true, you think, you believe, then you act like it is true. It will come true.
You know that you're already earning money.
These are the perceptions of the members.
So you're afraid to go out to your comfort zone.
It's from the media.
You should go out outside your comfort zone. So take a lead.
Good news normally are in the back pages. And if we are not wise enough, our thinking will be influenced by what we are bombarded on a daily basis.
And show them the right way. Because I believe everyone's here have a winning edge. Thank you.
Yes.